Welcome, one and all, to Enlightened Conversations, where this season we're going just that little bit deeper and not skimming on the judgy surface of life. I will also be sharing conversations with my guides, and you can be guaranteed that all the topics that come through are authentic, life-changing and enlightened, because we want you to live a more joyful, peaceful and loving vibration. Let's go. Hi everyone, it's Michelle Lightworker here, and welcome to episode 9 of Enlightened Conversations, season 7. We are jumping into a completely different topic today, but it's so relevant to other things. It's all about whale wisdom, and it's all about why they are here, why they are protector of information, why they are holders of incredible amounts of consciousness, and how we can actually go about tapping into that and also feeding that as well. A little bit like nowadays how we look at AI in giving us a lot of information. There are other beings that help us on a subconscious level, but we can work consciously with. And when I was teaching level 4 of the Lightworker practitioner training, I encountered these beautiful beings as teachers to me in passing on this knowledge. So at the end of this episode, I'm going to provide a whale wisdom visualization for you so that you can actually have a practical tool if you do want to access this information. So some of you may have heard of the Akashic Records, which is like a God library. Like everything's in there from all of history, everything that happened, the hows, the whys and wherefores and the whos. And it's a place that we can tap into to understand consciousness, to understand not only our lives, but also what's happening in the world and the lives of the collective consciousness as well. And so the whales are gatekeepers, if you like, of this beautiful wisdom library, let's call it. And they are holders of this information for like forever, for eons, and that's why they're still around and why they didn't disappear, and even though they were around in the times of the dinosaurs. And actually the reason why I'm doing this was prompted because at the end of June I went on a jet ski adventure with my hubby up to Hervey Bay. And some of the whales, it was actually the day after whale season was declared officially open. And what that happens is in Australia, they migrate up north to Hervey Bay from down south. They're all pregnant and they're coming up with their babies, and they come to the warm waters and they give birth, and then they sail back. They swim, or they sail, back down. That's very telling of the visualization, actually, at the end of this episode. So they are there and they hang around for a couple of weeks before they start heading back. And of course, they have their own agendas because they have their own pregnancies. But they all basically come at the same time and leave at the same time over a period of about 3 months. And I was on the jet ski with Tony, and obviously we were looking for whales. So I was connecting to that whale energy, and I felt myself having an experience of information on the jet ski that I hadn't had before in understanding more about the whales. So I wanted to share that with you today. I wrote a journal entry, and I'd like to read it to you. It may make more sense as I read it. So what I would like to share with you is that I've covered that bit. I received some guidance about the purpose of whales and how they are keepers of the history of mankind and also mankind's consciousness. And in that way, they are keeping the Akashic Records in their very etheric bodies. And that is how we can retrieve and access the information that they hold. And we are individually, you and I, all of us, keepers of information and consciousness in our etheric bodies. And so we can download necessary information from being around whales, around the current consciousness and awareness of human mankind, and also even ourselves. They may be able to share with us more information about ourselves as well on an enlightened level, on a higher self level, on a higher purpose level, on a contract level, who we've made contracts with, why. It helps us to step out of resentment, because sometimes we get caught in, I'll just stop this because I got this download yesterday to share this, that sometimes we get caught in our resentment towards other people, whether it's directly influencing or have affected ourselves in a traumatic way or an abusive way or some other way. We actually get stuck sometimes in our astral body, in our anger and resentment towards that person, and we direct that anger towards that person. And actually, that astral level also permeates all our organs. And so when we're in that anger and we're steeped in that anger, like almost like soaking a pot of tea and brewing a pot of tea, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger, that's what happens with anger. If we process anger and we get the lesson, how it served us and why, and what's important to us and what our boundaries are, and learn about what we want and what we don't want, and we set limits for ourselves and other people, that's pretty much the purpose of anger. It helps us to set those boundaries and set those limits. However, if we get stuck and we stay in resentment, it's like poison in our body over a period of time. And so what I was being shown is that sometimes what we need to do is we need to step back and we need to have a look at the situation on a bigger level, on a contract level, and ask ourselves, why would I have wanted to have or planned to have that experience in my life for me to learn that lesson that way? Why did it have to be so awful that I knew that's what had to happen for myself? And actually take back our power, take back our responsibility and say, well, I really needed to wake up somehow, and that's the only way I thought that I could plan to have that happen. So it's awful thing to want to do to myself. However, if that hadn't happened, then I wouldn't shift my consciousness to this. And so therefore, it's not that person that I'm angry with. It's probably myself for planning that and doing that to myself. The best way through that is to actually understand that we don't have to do that again, and we can plan to stay conscious and step into our purpose if that's where it's directing us, which no doubt it would be. Step into our purpose more from a free will perspective. A free will perspective is very empowering when we say, I am deciding to do this, rather than I have to have this lesson in order to step into my purpose. And so that resentment dissolves. When we see that we have done the planning, it resolves. And these whales, the keeper of this information is so vast that it transcends immediate, everyday, day-to-day stuff. So when you actually tap into it, you're like immersing yourself in the contracts of everyone and everything in it, and over across time. So we do have a meditation at the end of this that will help you like directly tap into what you need to tap into. It's very powerful. So I'll keep reading this because it's very interesting what we can do to affect change. A bit like with AI, with feeding AI, this is very important information. So, and in relation to the whale's understanding of where current consciousness is, and keeping that information for future generations, with accessing the Akashic Records, which was all about making anything available to anyone at any time of day. And it was like a library where people go in their meditation to visit and to understand, gaining information of what they needed. And in my meditation, the way they got there was on a whale. So you'll experience that if you do the meditation. And now I understand that it's an energetic place you can go to the Akashic Records, but also that the physical whales are keepers of that information. And now that's why they're here from ancient times as well in physical form. They were able to survive for a very specific reason, to ensure that this information is accessible. And I've been shown that this is why they are so profound to be around, because they are so wise, because they have seen and heard and understood so much of what mankind has gone through across time. Even though that day at Hervey Bay, we didn't actually see whales, I felt them energetically giving this information. And I felt myself feeding them with information through my base chakra as I was getting on the jumps. I was on the jet ski. Each bump felt like a download, even though there wasn't very big bumps that day. It just felt like energetic channeling down of information. I felt like I was a catalyst for creating a nourishment for the Akashic Records, and also I was receiving information like an upload from the whales energetically that is now assisting me, and not only in my own growth, but also seeing things in a different way on the worldview stage as well. And I'm excited to be able to share that knowledge in the coming episodes of Enlightened Conversations, and also integrate the learnings myself. And actually, I did have another download of information very shortly after that I'll be sharing in my next episode around politics and the childhood traumas and unmet developmental stages that affect people's choice in politics, and also how that affects the political leaders, and also how they deliver information and why they deliver information a certain way. So that will be in another episode. I have shared a little bit about whales already and understanding their role, but I also just want to read a little excerpt from level 4 of Lightworker practitioner training, where I share a bit about this sort of whales, and also like an introduction to that visualization. And then before we jump into the visualization, I just want to share a little bit more on a download that's coming through at the moment with regards to what the gatekeepers mean, because I think that will be important information when we get to it. Won't be very long here. I've just got a small paragraph, but just said, whales have an ancient energy from days gone by. They are old and evolved spirits which have picked up history and take it with them like a grand physical representation of the Akashic Records, or the records of life. This whale wisdom is available to us at any time. My husband and I used to live in Coolum Beach, Queensland, Australia. The whales were only a few kilometres away, but they could be heard quite loudly under the water. I remember my husband would spend time under the water listening to them, and felt moved and inspired by their sounds. Akashic Records contain all the knowledge of human experience and all the happenings in the history of the cosmos. They are like the Mind of God library. We can access the Akashic Records metaphysically to find out information about our choices, our future choices, other people's choices, and the options for future decisions. The reason why things have happened in the past and the reason why things will happen in the future can be accessed here to make some sense of your life or the world in general. We invite you to undertake this process with our Whale Wisdom Visualization. We connect with the whales as gatekeepers to this wonderful library to take us on a journey of discovery of wisdom. So yes, that's basically it. And just in terms of gatekeepers of information, I'd like to share that wisdom is not about delivering all the information to everybody all at once. Wisdom is about delivering the information to those who are ready to receive it, those who are wanting to receive it, and understanding that that's not rescuing, that's serving a resource that exists that is now ready to be received. And so when we talk about them as gatekeepers of information, this is about really free will. This is about human beings wanting to tap into that information. And there's a lot of power in that, because when you open yourself up to anything, any resource, when you ask, I need help, that's when it comes in. It's always there, but you need to ask for it. So that includes all your guides, any people that have passed and you want to have a conversation with. Unless you ask, sometimes you can be hounded by unhappy spirits and things like that, for sure. But I'm talking about your guides, your resources, your angels, all of those beautiful things at your feet. They won't come in unless you ask. It's very powerful. So what we're talking about with the gatekeepers of the whales is we're actually asking them, can you please provide us now with this information, by actually reaching out to them and being willing to go on the journey with them. So I hope you gain insight that you need today. Take as long as you need. And the whale wisdom itself, visualization, is only 7 minutes, so you may want to stop when you get to that point where you're ready to get the information. You want to stop your tape there and just sit there for a little bit longer so that you get that. All right, everybody, blessings to you all. And I hope that the wisdom that you receive today is exactly what you need to help you on your path and your purpose. Big love and peace to you all.
Hi, this is Michelle Lightworker, and welcome to the Whale Wisdom Visualization. Closing your eyes now and taking a deep breath in and out. You feel yourself floating on an ocean. You are totally safe and protected by your spiritual resources, angels and guides. It is safe for you to let go. Feel yourself floating. You feel so light and buoyant on this peaceful blue ocean. You feel the sun's rays shining down on you. You notice up above you that there is a beautiful rainbow. You smell the air and notice that it must have rained recently because of the smell in the air. You feel the wind on your face ever so lightly as the storm has passed. Now you dive into the water, diving down. It is easy for you to breathe in this environment. In the distance, you hear the sounds of whales below. You dive down deeper now, and you feel yourself getting heavier and more relaxed with every breath that you take. You feel yourself sinking deeper and deeper into the deepest blue ocean that you have ever seen. You look around in the depths of the deepest cavern ever known. It is pretty dark down there, but then up ahead you see the energetic glow of a pod of whales playing in the distance. Notice the colours of their energy. They light up the whole cavern. Notice how their energy feels. Notice their song, clicking, and energy, and where this affects you in your body. Soak this energy in. You notice one particular whale has its eye on you. You grab onto it and take a ride. It sails up, up, up through the water. It sails right up out of the water and keeps going up to the sky and through the rainbow. This is such a wonderful and exhilarating feeling. You feel the wind in your hair and light as a feather. Up ahead, you see a vast area like a library. You know that this is the Akashic Records, which is a special place that contains all the knowledge of what is, has been, and ever will be. Take a moment to spend time here and uncover anything that you wish to know through the records or conversing with your wonderful whale guide. It's time to go back now. You say your goodbyes to the whale and it sails back down to the ocean. Feel yourself flying back towards where you are right now. You come back into your body fully. Feeling your energy inside your body, wiggle your toes and fingers. And when you are ready, come back into full waking consciousness, remembering all the wisdom that you learned.